Welcome. Marshall and Lawrence McElroy for Water Tiger School of Tai Chi Chuan. We're in the Qigong side of our ledger in our shuffle. So we'll talk about that as we get going. Warm up and our main focus. But we'll start with a t-shirt like we always do. This is only the second time I've worn this. This is the 2017 World Tai Chi and Qigong Day t-shirts. First time was back in mid-2020. It was in one of the Water Tiger for Sachem Facebook Live series. It was one of the bear frolics. It was bear walking back on June 29th, 2020. So there's that. Now, I just want to point out, we got the three pieces of art back here. Ralph Macchio's been there for a while. Tony Horton's been there for a while. But the thing in the center, I meant to introduce this in the last video. It used to be some office art that I had. Gift from a student. It is the Chinese ideogram for Tao. Of course, it has the artists, the calligraphers' stamps there. And across the bottom, it says Tao, the great way, the rich and the varied journey of life, encompassing all opposites, connecting all things. The great journey is full of blessings for the person who has the eyes to see. Always used to hang in my original office, but when we moved 10 years ago, I just sort of stayed in a pile of art that I had yet to hang. So we decided to bring it down here. So there you go. That's the third piece of art. I've introduced the other two somewhere in the past in all these videos. So our main focus today, after our warm-up, which will be from Shibashi, will be from Bajua Jin, the 8 pieces brocade. Let me finish my mint. And we'll get to which piece that is. It's the 6th in almost all of the sets that we ran across in our research. Our usual 6 comparisons. We'll start with ours, our first version, our recent addition to our catalog version, and then get into 4 others. So for the warm-up, Shibashi, whenever we do the Shibashi, we always talk about how 2 things. One is its creator, Lin Haosheng, and there are 8 sets, apparently. And right now, we just have the first one in our catalog. And the first, and I believe the first 3 actually, are the most popular of the 8, the first set being the most popular. And generally, though each of the pieces of the 18 movements have very specific health qualities, therapeutic qualities, generally people just do the set because of general good health and wellness. It's sort of fun to do. Leaves you feeling good. I always think of a movement in an external Qigong set that we do, the fragrance set, that's called Holding the Happiness. And it's kind of hard to do that particular exercise without smiling. It's kind of hard to do Shibashi without smiling. That's just a nice, fun set. The second thing that we mention is that we run across 2 pronunciations. Now, for as long as Shibashi has crossed my path, even before we put it in our catalog, I've always heard it Shibashi. But as we started to do research, because we decided we wanted to put it in our catalog, I found a lot of people pronouncing it also, or saying that, hey, you know, everybody says Shibashi, but the proper pronunciation should actually be something like Shirbasher. So anyway, but we're sticking with Shibashi. The piece we're going to do, the exercise, is the 16th. For us, it's turning the wheel. It's also known as spinning wheels, wind spinning the wheel of seasons, rotating the wheel, and I'm sure there are many other names. And as always, different people have different approaches, different breath patterns, that sort of thing. You're going to get ours. As I mentioned, each piece has a long list of therapeutic qualities. We tend to focus on the general thing about just general good health, and we point out that, you know, many of the pieces include blood circulation or blood pressure regulation, that sort of thing, within the therapeutic qualities. So we always mention that. But I'm just going to read the ones for wheel. Because, again, it's kind of long and hard for somebody to always, to put in their memory. Well, let me change that. It's always hard for me to put in my memory. Good for regulating blood pressure. See, I told you. And provides gentle and large range of movements induced in smooth, slow breathing. Sorry, let me do that again. Good for regulating blood pressure and provides gentle and long-range movements and induces smooth, slow breathing. Apparently not reading skills. Promotes blood circulation, strengthens the kidney energy, boosts stamina. See, again, not good for reading. Increases weight loss and relieves waist and leg pain. Stiffness in the back, promotes new flexibility and strength. Works on the bowel, liver, kidney meridians. The circulating action of the waist facilitates bowel and liver function with the downward movement flushing the kidneys. The downward movement being this is going to be a forward fold, which is the theme for the day, and that might give you an idea of where we're going with our main focus. So whenever we do a forward fold, we always say, be careful, honor your range of motion. If you happen to have a doctor's order not to lower your head below your hips, then by all means, don't do it. So the knees are going to stay slightly open throughout. Breathe when you have to, but I'm going to suggest a breath pattern. Just let it go, let it flow. I'm not sure if we're going to do 6 or 9 repetitions, 2 directions. So start with an inhalation, or start with an exhalation, sorry, as the arms are hanging. Inhale the arms up, the hands up. Exhale, follow them down. Now I'm going to swing a little bit to the right and then come up to the left. So I'm going clockwise. My palms are sort of leading here. There's 9. There's 12. That's an inhale. This is an exhale. 3 and 6 for 1. There's 9. Inhale. 12. Exhale. 3 and 6 for 2. Again, notice that wrist rotation. 9, 12, that was on the inhale, here's the exhale. 3 and 6 for 3. And there's 9, 12, little look up. 3, 6 for 4. Inhaling, 9, 12, 3, 6 for 5, 9, 12, 3, 6 for 6. We're going to go to 9. I almost cut it short at 6. 9, 12, 3, 6. There's 7. There's 8, 12, 3, 6. One more in the first direction. I think I got the counting right. I don't always do that right either. We're going to swing as if going around again, and then swing back the other way, just like a child in the swing. Rotating the wrists so the palms lead-ish. Going counterclockwise, maybe inhale up. That was 3, here's 12. There's 9. There's 6 for 1. And there's 3, 12, 9, 6 for 2, 3, 12, 9, 6 for 3. That was 3, here's 4. 3, 12, 9, 6. Coming around for 5. 3, 12, 9, 6. There's 6, 2/3 of the way through. After this one, there's 12. There's 9. There's 6. Around 9, 6, 3. Last 2 times. I believe 12, I got lost there for a moment. 9, 6, last one, 3, 12, 9. Now swing to the right a little bit, come back, hang, find an inhalation. Up and down. And a moment. Settling, feeling what there is to feel before we close. Now also, Shibashi has its own way of closing. We go ahead and do sort of our standard Water Tiger School close when we take a piece out like this. So I'm going to find my right foot. That's the one that takes the weight. The left foot is the one that gives it up. This is my left side. This is my right side. So as the hands float up, out, away from the body, the weight settles in the vertical alignment into the right foot. Hands in, foot in. Hands down, heel down. And a little rebound. There you go. There's your introduction to Shibashi, turning wheel in our lineages approach. So I mentioned the forward fold was going to be a theme. I believe at the top of the video, I mentioned at some point that we would be doing the 6th piece of brocade in most people's sets. And for us, that is a piece of brocade. Again, some people just say the 6th piece of brocade or the 6th brocade. Others have names. Ours is bend and hold the bubbling well. There might be strengthen kidneys, touch the sky. 2 hands climb the legs to strengthen the kidneys. My personal favorite, moving the hands down the back and legs and touching the feet to strengthen the kidneys and waist. There's a word salad. And then touching the toes and bending backwards. And I'm sure there are many other names out there as well. Many different therapeutic qualities. We know that, well, let me backtrack a little bit. Our particular set comes from, our lineage recognizes Marshal Yuefei, somewhere around AD 1100 during the Song dynasty for the creation. Apparently, originally there were 12 pieces of brocade, trimmed down to 8 in both the standing and sitting sets. On back in the collection in the Tai Chi and Qigong, not that long ago, we did the entire seated 8-piece of brocade for you. Anyway, each piece has what we refer to as its poetry or its instructions, and kind of like the health benefits for the Shibashi, I'm going to read these. So the poetry for bend and hold the bubbling well. 2 hands hold the feet to strengthen the kidneys and waist. With strong kidneys and strong waist comes strong body. Bend the waist and hold the feet, most effectively strengthening muscles, the tendons, the bones. 1 up, 1 down. The life force powerfully expands and colds and are most effectively prevented. So I wanted to get that in first before I started talking about the therapeutic qualities, because our first note on therapeutic qualities is pay attention to with strong kidneys and strong waist comes strong body. This is a reference to the stirring and the conservation of Yuan Qi, our primordial Qi, our original Qi, to keep the body strong and to protect against annoyance infections. Beyond cold. Cold is just sort of a placeholder there. That whenever you bend like this, or in this particular exercise especially, depending upon the approach, you really activate the Renmai, the yin conception vessel, and the Dumai, the yang governing vessel. The yin conception vessel, opinions vary, begins more or less at the roof of the mouth, moves down the front. Now, different people have different points of connecting the Renmei and the Dumei, that exchange from the front to the back. Some put it at the Hu Yin, the bottom of the C, the perineum. Others put it at the Ming Men. Our connection point, our belief, is between the two at about here. That's when the young governing vessel starts, and that pathway in small circulation, or the microcosmic orbit, goes across the center line and ends at the roof of the mouth. That's one of the reasons that we tend to tell people to touch the roof of the mouth with the tip of the tongue to connect the renmei and the dumei. Strengthens the kidneys, the waist, knees, other organs, supports the element of water, which when balanced can give inner strength, stillness, tenacity. You know, the list goes on and on. And there you go. So our particular piece, there's a lot of similarities between the various things that we're going to present today. Certain things stand out. Water Tiger's approach tends to be kind of, well, and sometimes in these presentations, the most different. We start with the feet inside of shoulder width. Now we actually, when we go down, when we get to that point, we would prefer that there's actual physical contact with kidney 1. Now, not everybody can do that. So a couple of variations, a couple of power down, a couple of modifications. 1, bend the knees a little bit more. Don't turn this into a squat. That would be incorrect. But if all you need is a little bit of looseness, boom. And however you want to get to kidney 1, that's fine. I tend to go underneath the toes. Some people might roll to the outside of their instep. Some people might roll to the inside of their instep. Freaks. If you can't get to that, the mind is a very powerful tool, right? I go as far down as I can. I pretend I'm Plastigirl or what's his name? Is it Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four? I roll my toes up. I hook my hands. I imagine my arms are getting longer and longer and going underneath my toes. And I do a little isometric pull because we have that pull in our version. Even if you're not physically pulling on the feet, be very, very careful if you're doing an isometric pull. It can be very real. And the way the connective tissue works, you could still pull a muscle even though you're not actually physically tugging. So just be careful. So the rest we'll talk about as we go. Breathe when you have to. I'll talk about the expansion and compression of qi through the body as we move. Now, other people who are similar to our version hold their hands starting at about belly, kind of solar plexus area. We go higher, chest level. Some folks would insist that the palms are up. Ours are slightly back. You can imagine Radar O'Reilly sitting outside the colonel's tent, sunning himself underneath his throat with the reflexors. So this is our starting position, and that starts with a compression of qi to the Xia Dantian. And the first expansion, I'm going to arc. I'm going to rotate the wrists. I'm going to look up toward the sky. I'm going to press up. I'm going to sink down. Feel the expansion stretch in the yin conception vessel, the compression stretch in the yang governing vessel. And then a compression of qi to the Xia Dantian as I start my forward fold. I'm going to go to the balls of my feet, either in reality or in CGI. I'm going to physically pull. I'm not straightening my legs and making that tug. I'm pulling with my arms, chest, and back. Now I feel an extension in my yang governing vessel and a compression in my yin conception vessel. And that's an expansion of qi. Then the next compression of qi is when you release and come up. Into the next expansion of qi, arcing the back, arcing the neck, looking up toward the sky, pressing up, settling down. Still expanding the qi even though I hold this, but not holding the breath. And a compression of qi. Into an expansion of qi. releasing. One more rep. Throughout this sequence in this video, the tendency, except for the last one, will be to do 3 repetitions. Because most of the presentations, not holding the breath, not holding the expansion, just holding the movement, pressing up, sinking down. Compression of chi. Go on for a while. Number of repetitions. The last version actually just has 2 repetitions within this presentation, so we're going to keep it at that. Pulling, releasing, coming up, turning down. Now we're inside of shoulder width. We're going to do a little closing, standard water tiger school closing, again, left foot to right. But our feet are not shoulder wide, so it's a little bit different than when we close the Shibashi set because the feet are closer together. So you have to adjust so you don't push yourself over too far. And there's the first one. Bend and hold the bubbling well from water tiger school lineage. Now the next one isn't officially from our lineage. We just added it in the last couple of years. One of our students, shout out to Mike, introduced us to this. It's a version his mother learned or experienced or was pointed to. She's a snowbird. She takes Tai Chi and Qigong when she's in Florida. So this is strengthen kidneys, touch the sky. Knees are open. We're at our shoulder width. You'll notice some similarities, some differences from this and the first version. Find an exhalation. Inhale. Hold the kidneys. Exhale, sliding over the glutes, down the back of the legs. Come to the inside of the legs. Inhale. At the top of the legs at the quad, hold the breath. Arc the back. Open the hands. And then exhale. Down. Inhale, returning to the kidneys. Exhale, down over the glutes, down the back of the legs. Coming up the inside of the legs. Hold the breath. Arc. Now notice, here I am in that first position in our set, in our version, expanding the yin conception vessel, compressing the governing vessel. And then exhale down. Inhale, hands to the kidneys. Exhale, this is the third time. And notice here, I'm going to be expanding the back somewhat, the young governing vessel, or the young governing vessel, compressing the yin conception vessel. I'll get the language right. And by the way, just so you know, let's hold the breath until we get here, while we're here actually. And then exhale down. And of course we'll close. The reason some folks focus on that connection, either physical or kind of like a little hand scan, down the outside of the legs and up the inside of the legs, is the urinary bladder meridian is on the outside of the legs, and the kidney meridian line is on the inside of the legs. FYI. That's 2. 3 is 2 hands climb the legs to strengthen the kidneys. This is one that has a little sort of cleansing at the end. It too is done shoulder wide. Again, some similarities, some differences. Some specific instruction from this particular approach. And inhale, hands on the kidneys. Exhale, same trace down, same trace up. inhale, but holding the inhale, continuing the inhale as I extend up. And then as I exhale down, it's as if I'm drawing energy from the heavens to help strengthen my spirit and essence. And that was an exhale. Here's the inhale. And down. On an exhale. Inhale, coming up the inside of the legs. At the qua. Continuing the inhalation. It's a long one. And then that gathering. That drawing. On an exhale, and then inhale for 3. And exhale. And inhale. Continuing that long inhalation. And exhale. Slower, sorry. That last draw, because it was the 3rd repetition, is supposed to be slow. And then if you know Water Tiger School, you know from our breathing set, we have a posture called Por Chi, and this is sort of a abbreviated, a compact version of Por Chi for that cleansing. At the end. And left to left and right to right. In a moment. Because it just feels right. And then again, left foot to right. I don't know if you heard that or not, but knee pop is optional. Tony Horton has a shoulder pop. Happens all the time. I have a knee pop that happens all the time. What can I say? Moving the hands down the back of the legs and touching the feet to strengthen the kidneys and the waist. Sorry, that just makes me smile. There's so many words. I like bend and hold the bubbling well. So again, similarities, differences. This doesn't involve the inside of the legs. So settling down, shoulder wide, feet as close to parallel as possible. Find an exhalation. And inhale. Oops, sorry. Let's do that again. Exhale, settle the hands down. Went the wrong way. Find an exhalation. Inhale, arms extend, lift up, away from the body. We don't look up. There's still an exhalation and a pull down. And notice, as we get to the armpits, notice the fingertips forward, wrapping around, going down the back, over the kidneys. On that inhalation, exhale, down the backs of the legs to the feet. Hold this for a moment. Then inhale up. Exhale, drawing down. Inhale, massage the back, the kidneys. And then exhale, down the backs of the legs. To the feet, hold for a beat or two. And inhale. Not looking up. And exhale. And inhale. Massage the back from the armpits, more or less. Down over the glutes, start the exhalation. And hold the feet. Not really holding the feet. My palms are just resting on my toes. And inhale. Not looking up. And exhale. And that was the 3rd rep. Left to the left, right to the right. And close. There is, where are we at? 4? 4. So next is 5, again, differences, similarities. Doing all this talking. Again, I know some folks prefer, sorry, that was a little piece of ice, prefer these to be, you know, just present, shut up, right? I like giving people information. That's what this series started as, because the series actually started as a filler for people who were in the public classes when we had home lockdown back in 2020. So they were still sort of, you know, workshop versions of what you would get in a Water Tiger School class, either studio or public. By the way, this is not my studio. If you haven't tuned in when I've talked about this, this is my workout space. This is where I stream, or where I did stream classes during home lockdown, and where some of the studio classes, if I just have students who are remote. This is where I stream that, but it's basically the workout space in my home, where I home office. So the studio is elsewhere. It's an actual studio. It's not my basement. So again, here we go. This one just is known as the sixth piece of brocade. There's no name. A little bit different, a little bit similar. So I'm going to sink down a little bit. After an exhalation, I'm going to find an inhalation. Bring the hands left over right or right over left. From my standpoint, it really doesn't matter. And then I'm going to inhale up. Notice the palms start down. Booging up. Exhale. Again, there's sort of a drawdown here. Not as high. I'm going to go to the kidneys. I'm going to arc. Now notice in this one, I'm going to more or less finish almost the forward fold before I go down the legs. Exhale. I'm going to hold for a moment. Inhale, my head should really be relaxed. Up. And then exhale. Down. And inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. I don't really have my palms flat here. My finger pads are just touching the floor. Inhale. Exhale. Notice a little squat. Inhale. Starting like a bird. Go! Then rotating the palms in. Looking up, not arcing. Exhale. Inhale. Finishing the forward fold. I don't think I did this on the second rep, so we'll do 4 reps because I want to finish this and then go down. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Up the inside of the legs. Exhale. So I'm doing one more to make up for my second because I'm pretty sure that I did that wrong. Inhale, standing up out of the body again. Palms start down, turn in. Exhale. Inhale, arc. Long exhalation. Almost finishing the forward fold before the hands go down. Inhale. Exhale, set down a little bit. Inhale, release, left to the left, right to the right. Left foot to right. 5. That leaves us with the last one. Now, I just want to tell you, the source for this, the gentleman who presents, is a Shaolin monk. And when he does his back bend, you can't see his torso. I thought I was kind of Gumby-ish. And no, that's not something I can do. So I'll get the back bend as much as I can. Again, this is the one that only has 2 repetitions within the way that he approaches the set. So that's what we'll do. It doesn't seem right. You know, some of the others, like I said, well, all the others just go on for a while. And opinions vary with this too. You know, I've seen in, you know, source materials for different approaches, you know, this piece of brocade has this many repetitions. This piece of brocade has this many repetitions. What we tend to do with our approach is, you know, set a number, and then that's the number of reps for everything. So if it's 3, then everything has 3. If there are 2 sides to something, it's, you know, 6 total, that sort of thing. But anyway, so this is touching the toes and bending backwards. Just sit down a little bit. Inhale and draw up. Exhale. Bend forward a little bit. Inhale. Here's the back bend. Notice as I come up, the head starts to drop back. And it drops back. And I breathe as I have to here. And then I'm going to, like a whip, so my spine starts to roll from my hips. It comes in through my low back, my mid back, my upper back into my neck. And the head drops forward. And I start to go down. Down the outside. Or the back. Coming around. Up the front. Maybe on an inhalation. Coming in. Bending. Beginning the back bend. Letting that spine roll. Dropping back. Whipping. Hips swing back. Low back. Mid back. Upper back. Head going down. Kind of scanning down the back of the legs. Coming around. Up the front of the legs. Up, kind of an earth drawing energy thing at the end of this. And there's that to cap the second repetition. And then a second. Up. And a second down. And left to the left. Right to the right. And a moment. And close. So there you go. By the way, again, if this is your first time tuning in, I can't explain why I do that. It's always been something that I do, is just kind of put a period at the end of stuff. Something tells me that it's something my Sifu, Mesmer Sifu, did at Black Dragon School, my source. And I just started mimicking him. It does kind of feel good, and it does activate kidney 1. And while you do that, you're weighting kidney 1 in the other foot. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So there you go. Another in our series, comparing and contrasting. We believe there's great strength in diversity. right? One of our favorite parables is, the bundle of sticks. Look it up. I think it's one of Aesop's fables. That you take a single stick, it's easy to break. You put it in a bundle, and it's hard to break. That's diversity in our arts. Our strength, not a weakness. Some people say, "Oh, there's so many different ways to do this. It weakens the art. It waters it down." No, it gives us choices. It gives us ways to investigate what it is we do and how we do it, comparing and contrasting, seeking to understand the way that other people do it and why they do it that way strengthens our own belief in what it is we do, or it changes what it is we do. We've made adjustments to things that we do at Water Tiger School over the years because of experiencing what other people do. I'll hop off my little soapbox. So thank you again, as always, for your time and attention. We're currently in a 3-week rotation when we can. Sometimes we don't hit that. We have different end of the year holidays coming up, travel plans, that sort of thing. So we may fall off of that. However, just a heads up, we're thinking about dropping this to 1 video a month instead of every 3 weeks. There's just a lot for us to track these days. I'll tell you in one of these videos if we make that decision. But right now we're keeping it at 3 weeks. So we're continuing to switch back and forth between Tai Chi and Qigong. As always, hope you enjoyed. Hope you found this somewhat entertaining, if nothing else, the way that I trip over my tongue all the time. I always used to make fun of, folks who present in videos. I'm a big fan of the guy on the left over there. Be your right, Tony Horton. And he misspeaks all the time. Has for years, and I've always thought, well, gee, Tony. But now that I've been doing this for the last 4 years, it's like, I respect he doesn't flub up more often. So there you go. We appreciate, constructive criticism, feedback, what you'd like to see, that sort of thing in the comment section. We do preview all of them. At least that's what we asked YouTube to let us do. They don't always let us do that. We used to have open comments, and then we got spammed with, shall we say, let's just say dating links and leave it at that. So we started previewing, but good or bad, as long as we're not getting flamed, we let the comments go through. We also post a link to this in our Facebook page, Water Tiger Tai Chi, which is a little bit more sort of free range there. But again, if you flame us there, you won't be on the page for very long. But constructive criticism, of course. I hope you understand what we're seeking to do here, and how we do it is, our way. So there you go. Thank you. Take care. Be safe.